What's happening, man? Big Mom is back after a lengthy hiatus, for which I apologize. Not that anybody gives a shit, but I kind of like to keep the videos rolling somewhat consistently. But anyway, today the topic is practicing and learning and taking something that is infinite and never-ending, which is music, and somehow coming up with logical ways in which to learn this shit. And like, for example, the one question I've gotten all my life since I was maybe 14 has to do with speed, right? It's like, how do you get so fast? How do you play so fast? Or it could be, how do you learn those songs or those scales? Or how do you remember all that shit? And so on and so forth. You know, if you can do something that someone else can't do, they're curious how you are able to facilitate that, which makes sense. And in the past, my answer was always, fuck, just do it. You know, if you can do 2 push-ups and you want to do 100 push-ups, you don't go online to YouTube and, I guess now you do, but, you know, if you have half a brain, you do push-ups, you know? You want to, okay, today I'm going to go for 2. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to go for 3, you know? I'm a little sore today, I'm going to take a day off. Tomorrow I'm going to go for 5, you know? And you just do that. And that's the way it works. And music's no different. It's a little more complicated, yes. And there are many different facets and directions you can go in. But basically what I did to keep my sanity and get things done is, and I didn't invent this, it's kind of an old cliche thing to do, but what I would do is you take your big picture, your long-term goal, and know your long-term goal cannot be to fucking master everything and be the best country guitar playing, the best jazz guitar playing, the best classical and flamenco and metal. I mean, maybe you can address that shit later, but you need, I don't want to say to limit yourself, but you need some parameters. You need some sort of destination, you know. For example, let's say you're a shredder. Let's say you want to shred in, like a Jason Becker or a Guthrie Govan, something like that, you know. Well, you have to know your fretboard. You need awesome technique, and not just technique. You need all the techniques. You need alternate picking, sweep picking, hybrid picking, legato, tapping. I mean, you need the whole smorgasbord of shit. So with that said, let's address one of those. Let's say alternate picking, and that's the one that people have the most problems with, including myself. What do? How do you address alternate picking? Well, first of all, you figure out where you're at. Let's say you can play 16th notes at 100 beats a minute. All right, so your short-term goal might be to do 16th notes at 110 beats per minute within a week, let's say. Or maybe even 114 clicks. You know, that would be two clicks a day. You'd increase 2 clicks a day, and in a week you'd be at 114. And what you do is you get a freaking 50-cent notebook. You don't buy some $20 hardcover journal. I mean, you can if you want, but it doesn't need to be fancy. And you buy this notebook. Don't do it on your fucking computer. Don't email yourself. You write down your goals. You write them. Goddamn pen or pencil, preferably pen because the pencil will fade. And I still have my book, and I actually stopped doing this a while ago. But man, like when I look back at my little journal, it's amazing the shit that I didn't know. I'm like, oh my god, that's right. Holy, like, and my goals are just like one after the other, crossed out. Like I nailed them, knocked them bitches down like dominoes, and that's what you have to do. And the reason I stress short-term goals is because you want to create momentum. The biggest fucking problem people are having with the guitar is you progress very slow. You know, one day you're playing some shit, you know, and it's like a lot of times you feel like you're stuck. And with short-term goals, you have reasonable expectations, and you just nail them, and you cross it out, and you have more. And then you'll see X, I did it. And that's you getting better. You can physically see yourself improving every fucking day, every week, and it's exciting. You have momentum. You're excited. You know, you see the progress, and your goals can get bigger, and of course they can change. But you know, like when I got into jazz when I was probably like 21, 22, and oh God, going for you know, I was a badass shredder. You know, I could play just about anything. And I got into jazz thinking that, and I transcribed giant steps right away. I could play giant steps, you know, Coltrane, his solo. I nailed it, and I thought I was like gonna be the best jazz guitar player in the world in no time. And then I realized that I had no idea what the chords were. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. My tone sucked. It was the most. I never felt so like deflated in my life. Here I am all these years just shredding and killing it, and I literally, I wouldn't say I started over, but I basically started over. You know, I had to relearn the way I looked at music, the way I held my pick, the entire way my hands behaved had to change, because now I went from playing these big rack systems and having all these effects and shit. Now I'm playing a little jazz guitar through an amp, clean. And to any metal player, you know, that's a kick in the ass. You know, you don't have the toys anymore. So that's what I did. I wrote down these goals, you know, because it was overwhelming. I had to learn drop twos, drop threes, all these chords, bass lines, chord melodies, or just learning melodies, songs, learning all these new scales and arpeggios and transcribing. Fuck, it was killing me. So I write down this stuff. I knew I needed to manage it somehow. And another thing I would do is, you know, in jazz, let's say you're playing a 2-5-1 in the key of C. I'm not going to get too into this shit, but let's say on the 5 chord, the G7, Jesus, sorry, the G altered or G7 chord, you have many options. There are a lot of different scales and stuff you can play over that chord because it's altered. In other words, it's kind of out-sounding. That's the chord where you can go crazy. You have all these different directions you can go in. And what I would do is I was looking at like these charts, and I'd be like, oh, I can do this. No. You know what I did? I picked melodic minor. I said, no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this whole tone. I'm not gonna do this mode of Hungarian minor. I'm not gonna do, you know, diminished scale, half step, whole step, diminished scale, whatever. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna do melodic minor every single time I see a 5 chord in a 2-5, 2-5-1. And I limited myself to that, and it worked because I got really good at it, you know. And then once I was so comfortable with that, now I can play around chromatically and be more musical about it. But so yeah, man, you need short-term goals, and that goes for everything. It's not just speed, you know. Again, with jazz, I would say this week I'm gonna learn my 4 basic chord types: major 7, 7, minor 7, flat 5, on the top 4 strings. And I'd be like, all right, you know, F major 7. Those are my drop twos, you know, the root and 3 inversions. And then I would do maybe F minor 7, you know. Sorry, my hands are still a little jelly. I've been jet lagged. Then, F7. F minor 7 flat 5. And I would work on those, and that would be my goal for the week. Now that's easy because I already knew them, right? But what I would do is I would take a song, maybe All the Things You Are or something like that, and I would use all drop 2 chords. All root, all first inversion, all second inversion, all third inversion. And I would do that all week. And it worked. And then, now another thing I need to address is the fact that this shit is never finished. It's never done, guys. You don't know how many Skype students I have. You know, I've been teaching since I was like 15. And I'm really sorry about all the computer noises. You know, my Asian contacts stop messaging me right about now. But, you know, I've been teaching since I was about 15, and, you I taught a lot, especially in my 20s. God, I had 30, 40 plus students a week for a long time. And they liked me. My students would stay with me generally for a long time. And I, in retrospect, I was teaching them bullshit. I'd be teaching kids mode formulas and three note per string melodic minor things and just weird stuff. Like it was legit. I mean, I was teaching them, like really trying to, like a goddamn, give them a college education for God's sake. But I'm different now. Now, I'm my goal is to basically, when someone contacts me, let's say about Skype lessons, we have like a little consultation, you could say. We just talk, and I'll figure out what they want to do, where they're at, what they know, what they need to know, what their long-term goals are, and then I'll kind of devise a plan, some steps to get to those goals. And inevitably, it happens 100% of the fucking time. We do the lesson, and they're excited, and they have a lot of questions. And of course, I have a lot of answers. I don't know everything, but people who contact me, they usually do so because they hear me do something that they like. That's what they want to learn. So nobody's contacting me asking me about fucking the rules of counterpoint and any weird shit like that I might not know. They're talking to me about stuff I do know because they've seen me play and that's what they want to know. Anyway, they start asking questions, how do you do this? And, I don't hold back, I'll answer anything. It was this scale, and I did this like chromatic thing, and it was this voicing and whatnot. And we'll get into that a little bit. And it always starts to get a little frantic, And I'm like, whoa, calm down. We talked about this before, We're going to try to work, you wanted to do chord melodies. That was your goal. Don't worry about some fucking 4 note per string sweep it fucking thing I did, some shred song, So we'll finally get down to business. Let's say they want to do chord melodies, bass lines. They want to play solo jazz. And I'll say, well, I'm not going to spoon feed you an arrangement, okay? We're going to go over some stuff. The first step is drop 2 chords, okay? If they don't know what those are, we'll talk. I'm not going to sit there and go over every drop 2 chord. It wouldn't waste the whole lesson. So I'll give them some charts or maybe online where to find those chords quickly and easily and say, yeah, you can work on these chords. But the main thing we do is we pick a song that they like, hopefully, like a lot, because they're going to spend a lot of time on it. And we're going to use that song as a vehicle, and we're going to work on all the stuff they learn within that song. Okay? So, but it never fails. What happens is they get overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, all these chords, and then I got to switch the shapes on the middle 4th string and the bottom 4th string. Then I have to drop 3s, and then the bass lines and the scales and the arpeggio. Oh my God. And then when the lesson's over, they have this thing in their head. They're like, oh my God, I got a lot to work on. All right, I'll call you. I'll call you when I get this stuff down. And I'm just like, I told you, man, you're never gonna get this stuff down. You do it for 30 years, you won't have it down. You never feel like it's done. You want a lesson that's gonna last forever? For free, I'll give you a fucking lesson right now that you can spend 10 hours a day for the rest of your life and never learn your chords. That's it. What? Learn them, all of them. Every possible way to play a C chord, a C major 7 chord, every possible way on every set of strings. Learn every chord. You can learn. You can live to be 200 years old playing 10 hours a day. It's not going to happen. You'll never finish. All right. So with that said, my goal, my job as a teacher, is to hopefully fulfill your musical needs, right? But it's also to assist you and sort of coach you as you go and as you go closer and closer to your goals. It's like if you go to a personal trainer, right? A good one, not some of these assholes from like Planet Fitness or something. But let's say you're like a 100-pound scrawny nerd and you want to work out. You're gonna go, and let's say you find a great trainer and he's motivated. He's like, yeah, man, you got potential, And he's showing you how to bench press and curl, and you're doing everything, He's like, yeah, man. And then after, after your hour or 2 hours, however long your session is, when it's done, you say, and maybe you're 100 pounds, this guy's 250 pounds ripped. And you're like, yeah, man. All right, man. When I get this stuff down, I'll definitely be calling you for another session. When you get it down, when are you going to get it down? That guy's been working out for 25 years. He's on steroids and growth hormone and insulin and every other drug you can imagine. But he also works hard and he diets hard. And what do you mean you're going to get it down? You're never going to get it down. I could give you 50 lessons right now in 3 words or less. Every one of them would be impossible to ever get down. It's not going to fucking happen. Triad pairs. Shit, I've been working on triad pairs for 15, 17 years. I still suck at them. They're horrible. It's a nightmare. Again, chords. You never get enough chords because there's all this voice leading and it just never ends. There's always... You have to recognize that this stuff just goes on indefinitely. And the purpose in having a teacher is having a guide. It's having somebody help you avoid the fucking mistakes that I made. I made every mistake imaginable because I'm self-taught. Now, that doesn't mean I learned everything on my own. I had asked people questions. I read books. I transcribed. I had friends that helped me out. But I made every mistake you can make. Believe me. And that's my job, to avoid that, to help you get to where you need to be fast. But keep in mind, you're going to get your ass kicked in the beginning. It sucks. You get overwhelmed. It's painful when you realize how much stuff there is to learn. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't get frustrated. Don't think there's an end and you're going to get something down and then have another lesson and you're going to get this other truckload of shit unleashed on you and it's going to be like, oh yeah, I'll call you in a couple of weeks. Because I can tell you right now, pretty much close to 100% of my students in recent times last one lesson. And this is when I'm going out of my way to cater to them and passionately get them where they need to be. Whereas when my students would be with me a year or 2 years back in the day, I was just peddling bullshit. Oh, let's work on this scale today. Oh, let's work on this. Bullshit. I was teaching the way pretty much every other guitar teacher teaches, with fucking books, the Berkeley book or Melbay book or Alfred's book or whatever book the music store I was teaching at had. Okay, we're going to do page 6 today. Oh, you didn't practice? Oh, no problem. All right. No, man, it's not like that anymore. I want to get you there fast. But you need to have some common sense and some work ethic, along with maybe a little bit of patience. But with that said, I'm going to shut the fuck up. This was supposed to be a quick video, but I like hearing myself talk. So, thanks for watching, man, if you made it this far.